Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. So, good afternoon. I'm joining you today. Hey, Val, how are you? Thank you for joining today. If you guys are signing on, please feel free to wave or type your name into the chat. I'm joining today. Hey Val, thanks for being here. I'm joining today from the hospital, and I wanted to follow up on the conversation that we had last week, and I'll give folks a chance to log in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to be talking about my COVID vaccine experience so far. And as promised, that's what we're going to talk about today, because I know that some people had some questions and stuff. And so I wanted to give people some information, especially as it related to allergies, okay? So I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late today. Okay. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get started because I know that you guys are busy. So I am Dr. Madeline, your board-certified OBGYN, international speaker, and published author. I help busy women access accurate GYN information and birth control that they need so that they can have the most freedom and control over their lives as possible. Please, if you guys want more information, feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Madeline MD. That's DrMadeline MD. Okay? So last week we spoke about birth control, and I was sharing with you guys that I was concerned because I've been seeing so many of our young ladies, our young sisters coming back in. You know, they might have a 4-month-old at home or an 8-month-old or a 1-year-old, and they were coming back in with repeat pregnancies very soon. And so one of the things that has been happening is that I think there have not been as many conversations about birth control after women deliver during the pandemic. And so I know some women that I see in the emergency room setting, they share that they either haven't been able to get back to their doctor to talk about birth control, or they had other barriers. So last week hopefully was helpful to you guys. Really, if you know anyone who's pregnant, if you know anyone who's postpartum, just remind them that that they can start that conversation while they're still pregnant, okay? And so they can get the information they need. So as promised last week, I'm going to talk with you guys about the COVID vaccine. Things have been moving very quickly. So last week when I spoke with you guys, I spoke about the fact that I was leaning more toward getting the vaccine. And, you know, like as recently as like maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, that's not where I was at all. There wasn't as much information available about some of the science, about some of the side effects. And so I was not as comfortable as I became maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago when more of the information became available. Once the packages were submitted to the FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, and also reviewed by CDC, more information became publicly available in terms of what was going on with the safety data, how many people were included, and all of those things. And so it was a combination. I promised you guys that I would share with you how my thought process evolved. It was a combination of seeing the scientific data, really feeling more that the information we were getting was more credible and not coming through like any political filters, and also just, you know, working in the hospital and working with patients during this pandemic. It's you know, as you can see on the news, the numbers are still increasing. I'm here in Georgia, and definitely we're seeing more of our hospital beds being full. Even, you know, my pregnant ladies oftentimes will come in with symptoms, and so we're definitely seeing more. And so I reached a point where when I looked at, you know, the risks and benefits, I am many times when I'm here in the hospital more at risk just from my routine patient interaction than I might be from the vaccine, based on what I read about the vaccine in terms of the safety data and what we know so far. Now, granted, you know, one of the things people have been concerned about, including me several weeks ago, was the fact that we don't have usual data. Hey, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. One of the things that we've talked about that we don't have, because we're used to having this with other types of vaccines, is we don't have, years worth of follow-up from patients who have gotten vaccines, and we follow them out for years. With many of the vaccines that we routinely administer to children, that's the case. That's the case with many adult vaccines, like the flu vaccine that we get every year. So this is very different in that sense. However, again, when I looked over the data, and based on what I'm doing day to day in the hospital, it reached a point of it being likely a safer choice for me to get the vaccine. So what happened? So yesterday I got the first dose of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. And so what happens whenever anything is an emergency use authorization, there's a long consent form that you have to review and sign, so that you're aware that you're doing something that is really still under study and is not yet officially fully FDA approved. And so the consent form is about 8 pages back and front. I also signed one electronically. And one of the hospitals that I work in gave me a heads up that I could come in and get the vaccine yesterday. So that's what happened. I got it in my my left arm, and really, since it's been about 18 hours now since I got it, and I'm feeling good. My arm really is not even that sore. I haven't had any other side effects, no fever, no cough or mild symptoms of COVID or anything. But some people tell me to give it until like day 2 or 3, and that's when I might really feel whether or not it's going okay. One of the other questions people had asked me about was about allergies. And so I don't have any food allergies, praise God, for anyone who loves, is a foodie like me. But I do have a hay fever and allergies to pollen and stuff. And so they have some specific language about the things that are in the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, and the ingredients that people should be aware of in case they do have allergies, in case they might have one of those severe allergic reactions that we've been hearing about in the news. And so I just want to read this section for y'all, because it has a lot of words, and unless you are someone who's had like a full allergy panel, you may not even know that whether you're allergic to these things. So mRNA, lipids, and they have, I think one of the ones they're concerned might be the culprit is polyethylene glycol. If anyone is aware of having a polyethylene glycol allergy, it's recommended that you not get the vaccine until you speak with your provider. Potassium chloride. Valerie, who's also received the vaccine, thank you, Valerie. She said she took naproxen preemptively on the day I received the vaccine, and I never experienced soreness. That's a great point, Val. I've heard of other people who are pre-medicating to make sure they feel okay. Hey, Janet, thank you for joining today. So yeah, Valerie, that's a great point, to take some naproxen or some type of medicine, Tylenol, Motrin or something, to decrease the potential for having some discomfort. And so I'm glad that worked for you, Valerie. Janet, have you are you planning to get the vaccine? Janet, just for our audience, Janet is also an RN. Valerie and Janet have joined us today, so I appreciate both of y'all being here. But so yeah, polyethylene glycol is one of the things that they think might be the culprit in terms of those who have allergies. One of a young lady that I take care of is concerned about, she has allergies to shrimp. And she does sometimes carry around an EpiPen, and so she falls into that category of someone who should check with her provider as she makes a decision about this vaccine. Now, in the other camp, what they're saying is that they're not discouraging certain people from getting the vaccine, but then they would have to stay and be observed for 30 minutes if they have a history of certain types of allergies, depending on what's going on. So with the Pfizer vaccine, I will get a second dose between like day 17 and day 24 or 25. But usually the average is about day 21. The new one that was approved just within the last day or two is the Moderna one, Moderna vaccine. That one is also 2 doses. Oh, Janet says, yes, I am. Okay, great, Janet. Let us know your experiences as well in terms of when you get the vaccine. So Moderna varies by, I think it has a slightly different ingredients, but it's still based on an mRNA vaccine. And that one, the second dose is given at day 28 instead of day 21. So that will probably be administered starting, I would say probably tomorrow, because I know they were shipping them out yesterday and earlier today. And then there are others on the horizon, AstraZeneca, the Johnson & Johnson, that should be available probably by next month, depending on, what goes on with FDA review for those other vaccines. And so that's what I wanted to touch base with you guys about today, because again, my thought process about the vaccine has changed over time. And I wanted to be as transparent as possible with you guys so that you could understand why it is that I made that decision. Okay. Again, for me, it's about trying to be as safe as possible in the hospital. Also, me being vaccinated will ultimately help keep my patients safer, because I'm exposed to a variety of things just in the course of doing my work. And at home, hopefully it'll keep my son safer, because I'm still a mom. And I'm missing travel. I'm from New York City, and I haven't seen my mom in 1 year. This month makes 1 full year. And so hopefully, being vaccinated and continuing some of these public health measures will allow not just me, but all of us to kind of get back to some of what we are used to. We'll still need to wear masks. We'll still need to try to social distance as much as possible, and still hand sanitizer and all of that. But so far so good. And as things change, if things change, I will let you know. But right now I'm feeling good, and I'm actually excited about the fact that we are probably hopefully getting closer to the light at the end of the tunnel as it relates to COVID-19 and this pandemic. Okay, so thank you, Michelle. Michelle said, just thank you so much. If anyone has any specific questions about my COVID vaccine experience so far, please just type it in the chat. Let me know. Hey, Tanya, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let me know if you have any questions, type them in the chat. And if not, we will cycle back and talk next week. And so far, I don't see anyone typing anything. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate y'all. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so next week we will probably talk about, I think someone was asking about, vaginal lubrication, vaginal dryness. So we're going to talk about the vagina. We'll talk about dryness, and also someone was like, is there such a thing as too wet? So we'll talk about a WAP, because I have patients who've been asking me about that too. Is there such a thing as being too wet? And then we'll also spend some time talking about dryness. So, okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here today. I appreciate y'all. So in closing, I am Dr. Madeline, your board-certified OBGYN, international speaker and published author. I help busy women access accurate GYN information and birth control so that they can have the most freedom and control over their lives and be able to live their best lives. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Madeline MD. That's DrMadeline MD. And thank you guys so much for being here today. I'll keep you posted on my vaccine journey. And Valerie and Janet, good luck with your vaccine journeys as well. Hopefully it continues to go well like mine is so far. And hopefully we get through this, get to the other side of this and get back to the things and the people that we enjoy. Okay? I love y'all. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Val. Merry Christmas to you too. Merry Christmas, Michelle. Merry Christmas to all of y'all.